Hi, welcome everyone to Stream Channel, Physics Made Easy with our Stream Channel. And today in 12th Physics, we are going to start with Coulomb's Law. And in yesterday's class, we dealt with the basic properties of charges, and we ended up the class with the quantization of charges. Okay. So now in Coulomb's law, we are going to deal with what is Coulomb's law and the important aspects of Coulomb's law. Got it? Okay. In the year 1786, Coulomb he came up with an expression that relates the force between the two stationary charges. Okay. So it is given in this picture. There are two charges Q1 and Q2, and these two charges are separated by a distance r. And now what is the force exerted on the charge Q1 due to the what is the force exerted on the charge Q2 due to the charge Q1? That is what is represented by vector F21. So they have given vector F21 equals k into Q1 Q2 by r square to r cap 1 2, and this k is what? K is the proportionality constant, and this Q1 and Q2 is nothing but product of the charges, magnitude of charges taken here, and r is the distance, and r cap 1 2 is the unit vector, and the direction of the unit vector is from Q1 to Q2. Right. Okay, now the next topic is the important aspects of Coulomb's law. So we'll see the first point now. What does the first point states? Coulomb's law states that the electrostatic force is directly proportional. See, when you deal with the first point, you can even have the look at the equation 1.2. What does this equation says? The force is directly proportional to product of the charges. It means Q1 into Q2 and inversely proportional to. So inversely proportional, so it is by inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Square of the distance between the 2 point charges. So they have given us what? By r square. So just with the help of the equation 1.2, you can learn the first important aspect of Coulomb's law. What is that? Coulomb's law states that the electrostatic force is directly proportional to the product of the charges Q1 and Q2 and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Got it? Yeah, the next important aspect of Coulomb's law we consider. Now you just refer the figure 1.2 that is given in your book. What has been given? There are 2 point charges Q1 and Q2. Now the force exerted on the charge Q2 by the charge Q1, it lies along the line joining the two forces. Okay. So now if at all we speak that, now we have considered that vector r12 is the unit vector and its direction points from the charge Q1 to Q2. That is clearly shown in the figure 1.2. But in case if at all the force on the charge Q1 is exerted by Q2, you just bring the particular condition vice versa, then what will be the unit vector? We could write it as minus r12 cap. Okay, that is, it is in the direction opposite to vector r12. This is the second point they are dealing with. And the third important aspect of Coulomb's law we consider. What is the formula? F equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by r square vector r12 cap. Okay, r12 cap. Okay, now in SI unit, what is the value of k? K could be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught and its value is 9 into 10 raised to 9. And what is its unit? Newton meter square per Coulomb square. Here what is this epsilon naught? This epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space or vacuum, and the value for the epsilon naught is 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton per meter square. This is the value of epsilon naught. This is the third aspect. So in the first aspect of Coulomb's law, we were just dealing with the formula, like the force exerted between the 2 point charges is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. And the second, we are talking about the direction. We talk about the direction of the forces. So when it is from Q1 to Q2, we can write the unit vector as r cap 1 2. But in the same case, if at all we speak the forces from Q2 to Q1, then you have to write it as minus r12 cap. And the third point in the aspect of Coulomb law, we talk about the value of K. What is the value of K? K equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. And what is its value? 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. And epsilon naught, we call it as permittivity of free space or vacuum, and the value of epsilon naught is 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton per meter square. Okay, now coming to the fourth point of important aspect of Coulomb law, you are telling the magnitude of electrostatic force between the two charges. Okay, you just consider the two charges Q1 and Q2, and each are having the magnitude of 1 coulomb, and the distance between those two charges is 1 meter. So in that case, how can you write the force 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught? And what is the value of this 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught? We have already dealt it in the point 3 itself. It is 9 into 10 raised to 9. So 9 into 10 raised to 9 into Q1 Q2. So Q1 value is 1, Q2 value is also 1 by r square. The distance is also 1 meter. So what is the answer we get? 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton. So from this it is very clear that the magnitude of the electrostatic force between two charges of 1 coulomb separated by the distance of 1 meter is how much? 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton, and it is of course a very huge quantity. Right, now coming to the fifth point, and in the fifth point, first we will deal the formula with Coulomb's law in vacuum and then Coulomb's law in medium. So first thing we will deal with Coulomb's law in vacuum. What is the formula? Vector F21 equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by r square r cap 1 2. And in case of medium, that is permittivity epsilon naught, the force is how much? Vector F21 equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by r square into r cap 1 2. And it is very clear, we all know that epsilon is greater than epsilon naught. So this epsilon is in medium and epsilon naught is in vacuum. And a force between the 2 point charges in a medium, okay, you just compare the force between the 2 point charges in medium as well as in vacuum. It is clear that it is always less. Okay, charges in a medium other than the vacuum is always less than that in a vacuum. So charges in the medium is always less than that in the vacuum. So you have to keep this in your mind. And how do we define another new concept? We call it as what? Relative permittivity. So how can we define relative permittivity? Relative permittivity equals epsilon by epsilon naught. And for a vacuum or air, epsilon r equals 1. And for other media, epsilon r is greater than 1. So this is the fifth point. And the sixth point, this Coulomb's law has also got the same structure as of Newton's law of gravitation. Okay, so here they have just explained the formula, that is, it is directly proportional to the product of the charge and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That is only is given here. And the next point we just consider, okay, Here you just have the gravitational force between two masses is always attractive. So when you talk about gravitational force between any two object of masses, it is always said to be attractive. But in case of Coulomb force, that is the force between the charges, it can either be attractive or it can also be repulsive, but that completely depends on the nature of charges. And what is the value of gravitational constant? We all know G equals 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square per kilogram square. And the value of the constant K in Coulomb is how much? 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. So here you just compare this gravitational constant and the Coulomb law constant. What happens? K is somewhat greater than G. So this clearly shows that the electrostatic force is always greater in magnitude than the gravitational force. Okay, and the next one, the seventh point, the force on a charge Q1 exerted by a point charge Q2. This we already know, what we have learnt. So here the force on Q1 is exerted on Q2, means we have to write it as vector F12. If at all we are going to speak about the force on a charge Q2 exerted on Q1, now here you have to write it as vector F21. Okay, so now what is the Coulomb's law here? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by r square r cap 21, and here this r cap 21 is the unit vector from Q2 to Q1. Okay, and this r cap 21 is nothing but, you can also write it as minus r cap 12. So it is very clear that vector F12 is equal to minus vector F21. Okay, so if you see this equation, what strikes in your mind? It just gives us this Newton's third law. Okay, it is quite similar to Newton's third law. So we can also tell that the electrostatic force obeys Newton's third law. Got it? And the final point, this expression for Coulomb force is only true for the point charges. So that's all. So these are all the important aspects of Coulomb's law that we have learnt. Okay, so the first point is what? We'll have a short recap. The first point, we were just dealing with the formula. It is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by r square. And second one, we talk about the unit vector, the direction of line joining the forces. And third one, the value of K. And then the fourth point, what is the magnitude of the force if the value of Q1 and Q2 is 1 coulomb and it is separated at the distance of 1 meter. And the next point, we speak about the Coulomb's law in medium and the Coulomb's law in vacuum, and there we just have a formula for relative permittivity also, that is epsilon by epsilon naught. And next one, Coulomb's law is also similar to Newton's law of gravitation, and then we compare the value of the gravitational constant as well as the Coulomb's law constant. Okay, that's all. So in the next class we'll deal with the electric field lines. Until then, thank you. Subscribe and stay connected. Have a nice day.